Hey, what's going on, good people? Welcome to Russ Can't Fly. Actually, I can't fly. Now what? Okay, as you can see, it's a beautiful day out here. I mean, just bluebird sky. Just look around. Look at how beautiful it is out here. Oh, I mean, it's gorgeous. But I will say, if I'm at Wings, if you look at the windsock out there, direct crosswind, it looks like the windsock is really coming this way. So definitely gonna be a little bit of a challenge. There's somebody getting ready to taxi and maybe take off, or unless it's some maintenance stuff. But other than that, it's a great day. I mean, you know, not a cloud in the sky. Visibility is 10 miles. You can see that this I think it's a Pilatus is getting ready to take off. It's just kicking up. Oh, that sound is just so wonderful. It's so wonderful. But anyway, I'm getting distracted from the purpose of this video. So I'm actually gonna wait for them to spool up, and then I'll come back on the other side of them, you know, doing their spool up and, you know, taxi out and stuff. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so that Pilatus is now, now that Pilatus is taxiing away. And there's just something about that smell when that turboprop kicks on. I don't know what it is. Yes, it's exhaust and it'll kill you, but it smells great. But at any rate, I wanted to get back to the subject of this video because yes, today I can't fly. And as you can see, there's a lot going on. There's actually a plane that's getting ready to take off. There's another plane that I just saw that's in the pattern that is getting ready to land. And I see somebody over there that is pre-flighting. That is happening all over all of the flight schools here at Wings, at Northeast Philly. Both of the airplanes are either occupied or in maintenance, and then of course out at Doylestown. So here I stand, I can't fly because I don't have access to an aircraft. And that is the situation that I find myself in when, you know, I'm renting aircraft. So since I try to be as transparent as possible on this channel, and I share everything with you guys, and maybe I overshare, who knows. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is, yeah, what happens when I can't fly? What happens when there's no planes available? You know, even if I wanted to fly, the weather's cooperating, I'm good, everything else is good. But because everything else is good, everybody else is good with the taking over the planes as well. And you know, I can't fault the students for when they do their training. Today is like a great day to fly. You know, it's still cool. The winds aren't that bad. Actually, like I said, this crosswind is a little tough here at Wings, but other than that, not a big deal. So what do I do on a day like today? So this is one of those times where I get a little bit more introspective, and I just think about, like, what do I want to do next? Now, of course, you know, I'm working on my instrument rating. You can hear another plane starting up, and, you know, really thinking about that. There's some other irons in the fire, but really what I do when I can't fly, I still do aviation related things. And one of the things that I always do is I pick an airport. A lot of times it's Wings, sometimes it's Doylestown. Every blue moon it's Northeast Philadelphia Airport. But I definitely pick an airport. I come out and I do two things, and that's what I want to share. The first thing that I do, and I see an airplane that is coming downwind on runway 24, is watch airplanes. I watch airplanes land, I watch airplanes take off, I watch people do different things in the pattern, and I just kind of watch to see, you know, how different pilots do different things, especially on a nice stiff crosswind like today. This is a day where I watch, see what pilots do. And so just as we were speaking, like I said, I watch airplanes land. This Cirrus just landed. The landing was beautiful. The one thing I really liked that they did was they definitely touched down on that right landing gear and then brought the left down. And you know, that is just absolute perfect crosswind landing technique. And so those are some of the things that I do. So this is the first thing that I do. I come out, I watch airplanes take off, I watch airplanes land. As you can see, there's tons of activity. People are getting ready to fly out that way. I got to see that Pilatus take off. And you know, I'm always curious about how they do their run up. It just seemed like he did something on the way taxiing down there and then just, you know, spun around and took off. So it's very interesting to see like how these different aircraft do their run-ups, do their thing, all of that kind of stuff. And so that's the first thing that I do. I come out here, I you know, watch airplanes, I watch them fly in the pattern. I watch every type of airplane that I can until like I either get too cold or, you know, nothing's happening. But on a day like today, like if I can't rent anything, that's usually cause for being able to come out and watch a bunch of airplanes do a bunch of things. And of course, it's not only the student pilots, because that is, I don't believe that is a training aircraft, but it's clear that there's a lot going on. People are flying, they're doing kind of, you know, all this kind of stuff because they're trying to do exactly what I want to do, fly! So it's not bad. I mean, if there's worse ways that I could spend my time, and of course it gets me out of the house, I get some fresh air, and all that kind of stuff. So when I can fly, the first thing that I do, I just come out to an airport and just watch airplanes and pilots do what airplanes and pilots do. But the second thing I do is even more interesting, and it's so varied in terms of, you know, how it plays out. And that's the thing I love about coming out the airport. So the second thing that I do is when I come out to an airport, I engage in conversation with various people. Now, there's nothing more wonderful than talking shop with other pilots. But the other thing that I really love that I'm able to do is when I come out, especially at Wings, all these folks are like so warm, so inviting, so wonderful. When they see me, because I'm pretty much a nuisance, they will like reach out, they'll talk to me, they'll say, hey, how you doing, Russ? And every now and then, if I have a question, like sometimes I've looked at my IFR, I've looked at the like en route charts and stuff, I've had some questions, they'll actually engage in a conversation with me. And, you know, even though they're not my certified flight instructor or CFI, they'll still try to help a brother out, which is awesome. The other thing that's cool is every now and then when I go into the FPO, I'll run into like one of the charter pilots that flies the Pilatus, you know, or has landed, you know, a bigger airplane in there. One time somebody flew in King Air, and you know, he was just such an awesome guy. I sat there, we talked for a while, and the conversation was just so fantastic. And the thing that was cool too is he really showed me kind of like where he was going, how he did his flight planning and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I found that was interesting is like this guy had like 10,000 hours or something like that. And just to see, you know, his little knee board with, you know, the checklist, you know, attached to it. I mean, and that just made me realize that, you know, you never get beyond what all pilots should be doing. Use of the checklist, having a knee board, you know, having paper to understand what your frequencies are and all of that kind of stuff. So I just thought that was so cool. Good flight. And so that's the other thing that I do. I come out, I have conversations with people, I make a nuisance of myself, I ask questions, and just kind of hang out and, you know, still have access and bask in aviation stuff. Now, is it the same as flying and all that kind of stuff? Of course it isn't. But at least it keeps me from completely disengaging. It allows me an opportunity to kind of hang out and, you know, talk to people and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is, like I said, today, nice little interesting crosswind at Wings. And so watching several different airplanes land, I'm able to understand, you know, okay, that landing in that blue Cirrus, that landing was awesome. I saw a couple landings, you know, probably look more like me right now, crosswind landings, just saying, room for improvement. But hey, no judgment zone. It's just to say that, you know, sometimes there is room for improvement, you know, in some of the landings and that kind of thing. And it's a good thing, you know, because you continue to grow. So yeah, and of course the third thing that I do is I make videos, of course. And these aren't the sexy ones, but you know, this is my reality. This happens. There are days where everything is fine. I have a few nickels to rub together, so I'm able to buy some avgas. The weather's cooperating, and I just don't have access to an airplane. And that's the reality, you know, that I find myself in. And it's okay. I mean, you know, sometimes it's a bummer, but it doesn't always happen. And listen, some of it is my fault. I should have looked at the weather, and I should have thought about scheduling some time, but I didn't. That's the one thing that's a drawback is, you know, just lack of flexibility. You have to be more, you know, you have to do more planning for sure. And so I just wanted to come on here real quick. I mean, I know these talking head videos aren't as exciting as the flying videos. I get it, but it's not always about flying. Sometimes it's just standing on the ground, looking up at the sky and wishing I was in an airplane, and I can't. And that's the nature of the beast. And I'm sure there's even people who own airplanes that find themselves in that same predicament. I mean, sometimes the airplane is, you know, break or it's an annual, you know, you want to fly, you can't. So everybody has this as part of their, you know, reality, I'm pretty sure. And so, but I just wanted to share with you, you know, what I do when I can't fly. So if this happens to you and you find yourself in a situation where you're not able to fly, go out to your local airport, go hang out, go into the FBO. You know, one of the things I do sometimes is I pretend like I have to go to the bathroom. And I go in and I just kind of see who's there. You know, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll just come like today. I probably won't go in and talk to anybody because I knew I had a specific mission to come and shoot this video. But there are times where, you know, I'm a little bummed. I wish I could fly. And in lieu of that, I'll probably go into like the training center and just kind of see if there's anybody hanging out. And, you know, especially when the weather's bad, I know I'm not getting in the way of any student. I don't want to ever, you know, be a nuisance that way where CFI is trying to do ground school with their student and I'm in there yakking, and I'm not a quiet person. So, so I never want to go in there and disturb anybody. But that's one of the things I would recommend. Come out. Just, you know, remember what brought you to airplanes in the first place. It was probably coming out to an airport, watching airplanes take off and land. And so just do that. Just watch landings or come out or just talk to people. Don't just sit there and, you know, bum yourself out by lamenting the fact that you can't fly. Sometimes not being able to fly, watching other people do procedures or whatever, or even having a conversation with somebody about, you know, something in the far aim, sometimes that is just as beneficial, if not more, than when you're actually in the cockpit, you know, flying and just trying to keep wings level. All right, so that's really it. I thank you guys for following along. I mean, I promise, you know, next week we'll be back in the air, but I really just wanted to share this, you know, part of, okay, what happens when I can't fly? Does this happen? Yes, it does happen. And every now and then, sometimes it'll happen with some frequency, believe it or not, where multiple weeks I've tried to get on the schedule, or I get on the schedule only to have the plane go down to maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And it's a, you know, it's a beautiful day. So this is the life of a, you know, general aviation pilot. But, you know, just wanted to share that this is what I do. All right, so I thank you guys for supporting the channel, supporting me, showing me love, leaving comments, hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel, all of that kind of stuff. I really, really appreciate it. All right, so with that, I'm out. Russ Kid, Russ can fly. I'm out. Peace.